Hello, and welcome to God's Handlink, Decode Occult Science. A devastating magnitude 6.0 earthquake struck eastern Afghanistan late on Sunday, the 31st of August, 2025, with its epicenter located just 27 kilometers, 17 miles, east-northeast of Jalalabad in Nangarhar province. The tremor's shallow depth of 8 kilometers, 5 miles, led to widespread and catastrophic destruction. The worst affected areas include the provinces of Kunar, Nangarhar, Laghman, and Nuristan, where entire villages made of mud and stone were leveled. The shaking was also felt as far away as the capital, Kabul. As of the 1st of September, initial reports from the Ministry of Public Health indicated that at least 800 people were killed and more than 2,000 were injured. The death toll has tragically continued to rise, with the latest figures on the 2nd of September showing over 1,400 fatalities and more than 3,100 people injured, primarily in Kunar province. The earthquake has exacerbated Afghanistan's already severe humanitarian crisis. Rescue and relief efforts are being significantly hampered by the rugged, mountainous terrain and widespread landslides that have blocked key roads. Communication lines are also down in many areas, making it difficult to assess the full scale of the disaster or get help to those in need. Aid agencies are struggling to navigate these obstacles, and officials have cautioned that the death toll is expected to rise as they reach remote communities. The disaster has placed immense strain on the nation's fragile healthcare system, which is already facing a lack of resources and a significant reduction in foreign aid. This is more than just an earthquake. This is one of the disasters on God's doomsday. So, today, let's pray for Prayer Afghanistan Earthquake 2025. Praying for the good people affected by earthquake in Afghanistan to overcome their destiny situation. The following are details about Afghanistan Earthquake 2025, presented in 5 parts. First, evolution. Second, effects. Third, causes. Fourth, solution. And fifth, manual. The last 2 parts will guide you on how to click the Pray button on the godchand.link website. If you pray sincerely, you will be able to open God's gate to successfully connect with God and receive God's beatitude to successfully help the people you are praying for. Now, let's take a look at the evolution of earthquake in Afghanistan. Evolution. A magnitude 6.0 earthquake struck eastern Afghanistan late Sunday night on the 31st of August, 2025, devastating parts of Kunar, Nangarhar, and Laghman provinces. The quake, which occurred while most people were asleep, flattened villages and caused widespread destruction, leaving many people trapped under rubble. The immediate aftermath saw rescue teams scrambling to reach the affected areas, with the death toll rising steadily. As of Tuesday, the 2nd of September, 2025, the death toll has tragically climbed to over 1,400, with more than 3,100 people injured. A Taliban government spokesman stated that over 5,000 homes were destroyed, with the mountainous province of Kunar being the worst affected area. The rough, mountainous terrain has severely hampered rescue and relief efforts. Landslides and destroyed roads have made many areas inaccessible by vehicles, forcing aid workers to walk for hours to reach survivors. Rescue teams have also had to rely on helicopters to transport the injured to hospitals in neighboring provinces and the capital, Kabul, which have been overwhelmed by the number of casualties. The international community is responding to the crisis. The United Nations has mobilized emergency assessment teams and has warned that the number of casualties could rise exponentially. Countries like the United Kingdom and India have pledged and delivered emergency funding and supplies, including tents, food, and medical materials. However, humanitarian organizations note that the response is being challenged by pre-existing crises in Afghanistan, including a weak economy, reduced aid funding, and the forced return of millions of people from neighboring countries. Many health facilities had already been closed due to funding cuts, further complicating the delivery of critical medical care. The UN's humanitarian coordinator for Afghanistan has urged the international community not to forget the people of Afghanistan who are facing multiple compounding crises. Effects. The immediate human toll. The most devastating impact has been the significant loss of life and widespread destruction of homes. The death toll, initially reported in the hundreds, has tragically soared to over 1,400 fatalities, with more than 3,100 people injured. The quake, which struck while people were asleep, flattened entire villages, particularly in the provinces of Kunar and Nangarhar. The majority of the houses in the affected region were made of mud bricks and wood, making them highly vulnerable to collapse. A Taliban government spokesman reported that over 5,000 homes were destroyed. Humanitarian crisis and infrastructure breakdown. The humanitarian situation is dire, with relief efforts severely challenged. Medical services. Hospitals are overwhelmed with casualties, and there is a critical shortage of medical supplies, beds, and staff. The World Health Organization and other aid groups are working to provide emergency kits and medical assistance, but the pre-existing fragility of the country's healthcare system has been exposed and overwhelmed. Access and aid. Landslides and destroyed roads have cut off access to many of the worst-hit villages. Rescue teams are struggling to reach remote areas, often having to travel for hours on foot to deliver aid. This has made it a race against time to get injured people to medical care and provide basic necessities like food, clean water, and shelter. Water and sanitation. The earthquake has disrupted clean water sources, raising fears of disease outbreaks. With people displaced and living in temporary camps, there is an urgent need for sanitation and hygiene supplies to prevent further health crises. Psychological and social impact. Beyond the physical destruction, the earthquake has taken a heavy psychological toll. Survivors have described the event as a small apocalypse, and many are sleeping in the open, terrified of aftershocks. The disaster has added another layer of trauma to a country already facing a severe humanitarian crisis. Aid agencies are stressing the need for long-term psychological and psychosocial support to help people cope with the loss and devastation. Causes. Tectonic plate collision. The primary geological cause is Afghanistan's location in one of the world's most seismically active zones. The country sits at the junction of the Indian and Eurasian tectonic plates. The Indian plate is continuously pushing northward into and under the Eurasian plate at a rate of approximately 45 mm per year, causing immense stress to build up along numerous fault lines. The 31st of August earthquake was a reverse or thrust fault earthquake, where one block of the Earth's crust pushed up over another, releasing this accumulated stress. Shallow epicenter. A critical factor in the earthquake's destructive power was its shallow depth. The United States Geological Survey reported the quake's epicenter at a depth of just 8 km, 5 miles. Shallow earthquakes cause more intense ground shaking and release their energy closer to the surface, leading to greater destruction compared to deeper tremors of the same magnitude. Vulnerable infrastructure. The devastating human cost was largely due to the vulnerability of the homes and villages in the affected regions. The majority of homes are constructed from mud bricks and wood, which are highly susceptible to collapse during even moderate seismic events. The earthquake struck late at night while most people were sleeping, trapping them under the rubble of their homes and significantly contributing to the high number of casualties. Above is a detailed summary of the causes behind earthquake in Afghanistan 2025, as reported by news sources. But if the main cause is God's doomsday, what should we do? Solution. Solve by a reform prayer in Pray God's Will page at https://godshand.link/pray-God's-will. Address, with a phrase search as Prayer Afghanistan Earthquake 2025. Praying for the good people affected by earthquake in Afghanistan to overcome their destiny situation. And click Pray button. Here, you can also scroll up and click on this video to see details about God's supreme message. Follow God's doomsday to pray God's will. Manual. For more information about how to pray on the God's Hand Link website, please refer to Pray God's Will user manual page at https://godshand.link/pray God's Will user manual. Address. By clicking the Pray button, You have contributed to helping the good people who are victims of this catastrophic earthquake. Your small acts of kindness are like seeds that can grow into a forest of compassion and love. Helping others is not only about material support, but also about spiritual support. Because the material originates from intention, a prayerful intention of yours will bring about the transformation of the material world according to God's will. Thank you for helping. God's Hand Link. Thanks for helping. To decode occult science,